Wow. You know you really goofed up when you have the Hasidic Jewish community literally up in arms and rioting, burning their masks in the middle of the streets because of your government policies. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Okadowski of WeAreChange.org. Of course, we're going to talk about the very major and significant Jewish Orthodox protests happening right now in Brooklyn, as well as absolutely more insane news coming from Australia, and even more worrying news about the first Conholio sickness passport, which already is being tested out in, of course, the United Kingdom. If we have time, we're also going to be getting into Netflix being indicted for their travesty of a film that abused children that allegedly, according to them, was supposed to show how somehow that was not good. Yeah, they're utterly insane. There's also some interesting Trump news and the financial destruction of our economy. And of course, the insanity is only being ramped up by big monopoly tech companies or social media companies that have a significantly large portion of control of free speech in this country and everywhere in the world that's promoting absolute lunacy. Again, if we look at what the mainstream media establishment, the ideas that they're pushing out there, the quote news stories celebrating government mafioso mobsters getting their own action figures, there's no other way to understand it other than they have gone completely insane. And of course, other individuals who call it out, who report on it, who show you a different side of the establishment that of course they don't want you to see, well, duh, they get censored, demonetized, and of course are heavily shadow banned to make sure that they can no longer exist or financially sustain themselves. So I said, screw it. I'm just going to work with great companies that I like, that actually provide a great service like filtering your water. Because I don't know about you, but I'm not messing with no microplastics or fluoride. I don't want any of that. You shouldn't either. That's why you should check out Pro Pure water filters that I personally use. I like. There's a number of them you could check out. You could buy. The link to it will be down below. Of course, we have an affiliate link with them, which pretty much anyone could set up. But since I really like their products and I use them a lot, why not help me, help you, help them with an overall win-win for everyone, as of course your pineal gland will be thanking me later. Now, one last thing, the reminder for our special intense survival self-defense training course is this Saturday. Check out the link below if you're interested in learning how to survive in the wild by yourself overnight, with of course very limited resources. If you want to learn how to bug out in nature, this will be the course for you. This will be the last training of the year. Check out more information down below about it. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of shocked and surprised what we are seeing unfolding in Brooklyn right now, where a large portion of the Orthodox Hasidic Jewish community is coming out and literally deciding to burn their masks and push back against police officers that, of course, are trying to shut down their communities, their churches, their businesses, all, of course, done in the name of, quote, public safety, which is an absolute oxymoron. And this should show you a testament of just how fed up individuals are when it comes to the crony, draconian, totalitarian lockdown that some individuals in New York City are experiencing. And now there's pushback against it far and wide, and in my opinion, rightfully so.
Guys, back up now! Guys, back up, come on. Just get out of the smoke. Out of the way the smoke is, please. Come on.
Of my people that have to die, I'm holding Mr. de Blasio and Mr. Cuomo personally responsible. I will file criminal charges. I will go after you personally. I will make sure that I sue you every possible minute. I will spend every single dollar I own just to get you. By the way, everybody, while all of our taxes went up, Mr. de Blasio's 2 houses, his taxes were down.
Oh, they're litigious and they're suing too. Who would have thought? And rightfully so, because what we're seeing unfold in New York City is absolutely absurd. We have to understand politicians are not using science in New York City, in New York State, in order to justify the utter destructions of people's lives. We are talking about extremely out of touch asinine, egotistical politicians that think that they're actually helping people when they're absolutely doing the total opposite of that. And when you look at the policies of Bill de Blasio, by the way, whose administration was telling you to go to the Chinese Day Parade one day, and then another calling for martial law, literally, that's what they were calling for. If Bill de Blasio could have his way, if there was no pushback, he would have had martial law in New York City over, of course, the conholio sickness. Here's another video that he just released individually himself, outside, by himself, with no one around, literally putting on a mask for some reason and then saluting, which again makes absolutely no freaking sense, just like his entire administration. And if you look at his background, you look at the person he was obviously a very strong Marxist as a young man, and it absolutely looks like not much of his policies changed at all. He changed his name, but other than that, not much has changed for an individual that is literally cheering on protests with the governor of New York, saying those are essential, those are important, but Jewish people's businesses, Jewish people's church services, religious services, no, they're not essential, they're illegal, and NYPD thugs will show up to shove everyone away, threaten their arrest, and of course do their best in order to destroy their livelihoods because they dared to exist. And it's not just the Hasidic Jewish community here being affected by all of this. It's the Italian community, it's the Chinese community, it's the Russian community, and this really could be a linchpin of individuals finally deciding to push back against these draconian measures which have gone absolutely too far. There's no reason the NYPD should be shoving, arresting, shutting down businesses of individuals. Meanwhile, they literally sit back, applaud protests, and in many instances, as they've been caught on video, literally stand away and watch as people riot and loot and destroy other people's personal businesses. That's what the NYPD did. That's what Bill de Blasio, that's what Andrew Cuomo are all for. That gets their thumb of support. People living their lives individually? No, we have to shut that down. And that's exactly what this is a response to. Since, of course, allegedly, according to the official numbers, which have been in question along with the test, there's allegedly a spike in some neighborhoods. And now Andrew Cuomo is shutting down all businesses, all schools, all public gatherings in specific zip codes in New York City, which he deems non-essential. Well, obviously, the people who can't go to school or to a restaurant or to a business in one zip code of New York City, well, obviously, they're just going to go to the next one. This has absolutely no logical sense at all, since, of course, we have the public transportation system that literally could take you anywhere, anytime, 24/7 on a subway or bus. And the only thing standing in the way of these politicians being able to do whatever sick, twisted things they want to you is your compliance. And that's why it's so astonishing to see such a strong community response of individuals. Again, these are individuals with a shared idea, a shared religion, a shared community, a shared family unit. And because of that, I would say, in my opinion, is one of the reasons why they're standing up as strongly as they are right now. And also mainly why a family unit, a community of individuals with shared values and shared other interests is usually a threat to the multinational corporations and larger banker overlords that, of course, don't like that, since that stands in the way of their subjugation of you. Sorry, I just meant to give you a small example of what I personally think, but that's a tangent. I'm going off on it. But one thing we don't want to happen is the United States to become places like Australia, where the police and government officials are pushing such draconian measures where literally family members can't be with a grieving mother during their dad's funeral, where you have little bureaucratic boot-licking government ninnies stopping them from even hugging each other during a funeral. The sick atrocities that are happening in Australia, where literally just another video came out of a pregnant woman being slammed to the ground, being assaulted, all because she was just outside of her government-allowed area. She was outside of her 5-kilometer area, is absolutely disgusting. The levels of tyranny that people are experiencing because of this conholio sickness is terrifying in places like Australia. And of course, we well damn know this is the wet dream of many government politicians who would love to extort such power and control over you, all so they could coddle themselves egotistically and then stand on your suffering, misery, and your dead bodies and tell you, look how great of a job I did. And I'm not exaggerating here, because when you look at the government policies, especially in New York with Governor Andrew Cuomo, he knowingly signed a directive sending sick elderly patients back to nursing homes when there was field hospitals empty. There was field hospitals on boats, in parks that were built, and then they were all empty. And then the sick patients were sent to spread the sickness in, of course, elderly homes. And now on that suffering, that misery, that death, Andrew Cuomo is literally congratulating himself on a job well done. And it doesn't just stop there. These sick, twisted, bankster-controlled corporate globalist puppets are pushing for more control over you, and now we're talking about the first ever Conholio passports that are going to be trialed in the United Kingdom as a way to, of course, helping you deal with the convenience. They're going to give you a convenience after causing a massive issue created by them. They create the problem, they create the lockdowns, they create all these made-up rules that are not even based off science, that are not even based off any form of logic, and then they're like, oh, here's the solution, and it's a medical passport to make sure that you are tightly controlled, tightly regulated, probably probed soon with the way things are going in our society, but that's just my opinion. And again, now we have the first medical passport, so passengers don't have to deal with another idiotic government policy, all for their, of course, convenience. Again, we have to understand the bigger game that's being played here. Can't act like goldfish and act like this is a great thing. And the idea is here is working through a private company called Common Pass, which of course will give people a test at a quote certified lab that will upload their data. You will get a QR code, who knows, I thought it was going to be a star, and that QR code will be scanned by airlines, so you can have the privilege, as they say, to travel and to exist in another part of the world. All, of course, done very easily through your phone software. China would blush, as of course China has implemented similar draconian measures. But of course, this digital health pass will most likely be abused by government officials who might not like what you tweet or might not like what you say online. And of course, your medical health pass, which helps you get around now, according to these government officials, could be just shut off because of unhealthy political opinions that don't go along with the raging mobs that are indiscriminately hurting and destroying individuals and their enterprises. Oh, you don't like that? Oh, you actually called it. Oh, you actually believe in a concept called truth? Ha ha ha! Screw you, we're going to turn your little health pass off. And that's exactly what I would envision would eventually lead up to this. Of course, it's not going to happen right away. This is a long-term project. Again, a lot of this is based off my own personal interpretations from everything that I've been seeing so far. But from everything happening the way it is, how can you not understand that this is all about control and nothing to do with health and safety? Let's be honest, if it was about health and safety, we would be hearing lectures about proper sleep, about not being stressed out, about meditation, about vitamin D, about proper diet. You know, the issues that actually do affect us, like our guts, like our immune system, like our psychological state, but they don't. They don't talk about that at all. Another reason why I'm also taking on sponsors that are going to be doing health-related stuff, water filtration stuff, and again, that's another reason why I think it's a win-win. So maybe the whole demonetization and shadow banning thing has some kind of little caveat in there, but you have to understand here, these individuals pushing these controls over you do not give a damn about you, and mostly they profit off of your suffering. Don't let them win. And the best way to not let them win is to be independent outside of their system. It's to not acquiesce. It's to not be complying with something that you don't need to comply with. Because when you're an individual that has a strong family unit, that is extremely healthy, that is strong psychologically, and is not dependent on any of the crap that they throw out at you, whether it's adult-related content or other things thrown out by the Hollywood industry that mess up your brain chemistry and your psychological state. If you're a strong individual that is not dependent on them, then you can't be controlled by them. You're sovereign, you are free, you are unique, and you are freaking amazing, and all it takes is you realizing that, because again, the system also profits off of you being miserable. In my opinion, this is why so many people are miserable. And hell, worst comes to worst, come to our survival trainings and just learn how to move into the middle of the woods and survive on your own. And we're also going to have chickens. Again, the system that they set up for 2020 literally is making the billionaire class even richer. It's making them more cocky and confident, as of course their jobs can't be taken away, as everyone is being reaped with havoc, as financial uncertainty is hitting more and more people by the day. Millions of people are losing their power over unpaid utility bills. They're losing their houses. They're losing their apartments. They're losing their jobs. And when Bill Barr compared what's happening to, quote, slavery, he wasn't exaggerating, since of course poverty is the perfect way to be plunged into the government system of reliance on them, where they of course control you like little batteries in the Matrix. The lockdowns are the new totalitarianism, and it's causing irreversible damage that we won't be able to get back from. And don't take my word on it, even 6,000 scientists are now joining together and signing an anti-lockdown petition, since of course so many more people are being damaged from this, physically, mentally, and psychologically, and that's not even financially, to the effects that the world has never seen. This is going to be massive. This is going to be devastating. There's a lot of fear mongering out there. Governments that have too much power go overboard when it comes to punishing anyone who threatens or even criticizes it. We have to prevent that situation from happening. Can't allow the United States to become the next China. Australia is already lost, but you do not want to be living in a world where a scientific whistleblower's mother is literally kidnapped for sharing information that literally help the public understand what is really going on. That's not a world I want to live in, and if you agree, share this video with your friends and family members. Again, you don't understand just the crazy amount of shadow banning, the crazy amount of underhanded things that are happening behind the scenes of this channel that are absolutely screwing it. Financially, things are already difficult for everyone, including us here at We Are Change. Man, when these guys control what you see, what you can think, what you could hear, you have to understand this is something that needs our absolute attention. Getting this message out, not being afraid to speak up, is the key, in my opinion, to getting out of here. And I think there still is a possibility for that. Prepare accordingly. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you sharing these videos, and this is why. Love you guys. Thank you again so much for watching. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.